everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I'm your host, Lisanne Faye, and today, well, originally I was going to do Horizon next, but I realized I kind of wanted to do the mission part of the Citadel DLC, slightly separated from the party part of the Citadel DLC, and so yeah, Horizon's the only thing that I can kind of put in the middle there. So let's go to the Citadel. And trap ourselves here for a little bit.
Commander, I've got Admiral Anderson on the QEC. Patching him through to you now.
Ah, yes, good.
Shepard.
Admiral, how are you holding up?
Day by day, Commander.
Yeah. Hackett sent me a message about this apartment.
I want you to have it. Take it off my hands.
Are you serious?
You need a place that's yours. Somewhere to recharge, clear your head. Kaylee wanted us to settle down there. Thing is, the longer I'm on Earth, the less I want to leave. And I want as few loose ends out there as possible. Like I said, you'd be doing me a favor.
Yeah.
It's too generous. Besides, you'll be back here once the war's over.
I doubt it. Even assuming we survive this, it'll take years to rebuild things here. Please, Commander. Don't make me beg.
All right. Consider it done.
I appreciate it. And make yourself at home, damn it. It's yours now.
Well,
I'm sure
thanks.
I can manage.
Okay, good. Been meaning to do that for a while. I'll talk to you soon.
So long, Admiral.
Anderson out.
Alright, yay! We have an apartment.
You never asked me about this, but my wife just called. My ex-wife. Nobody likes to talk about the toll that long months apart can have on military relationships. She wasn't military. She couldn't handle it. But it's not even about military and non-military, damn it. It's space flight. Space flight. Finding the mass relays, miracles of engineering. Human imagination rising to meet our desires.
Indeed.
We pay a price for that curiosity, that drive. Our relationships suffer. People we love suffer. But that's reality. And it's worth the cost. I must have thought it was. I guess I still do. In the end, you just have to hope you made the right choices.
Indeed. What? What's pinging at me? Just so that way it's not ringing. Dinner at Sushi Place on me. Hey Shepard, I've got a few things I wanted to go over with you with the Normandy and Dry Dock. I figured we could meet up at that Ryusei Sushi Place down in the wards. I hear it's the best. Joker. Okay, cool. Catalog. Ah, yes, right. I can customize things. I forgot about that.
What was I talking about? Early days, right? People ask why I joined the military. Everyone talks about honor, duty, sure.
Yeah.
But that's never the whole truth. It's 100 little things that add up to commitment. I joined because of a dog. Yeah, a dog. This patchy, mean son of a bitch that used to bark at me every day on my way to school. He'd snarl and I'd start running. Scared the hell out of me. I was just a kid. I remember being in a bad mood one morning. Angry, I can't recall why. When that dog started in on me, I snapped. Started barking right back. We both kept at it until we had nothing left. Dog never bothered me again. Why'd I join the military? Sometimes you just gotta howl to make things right.
Indeed. Let's see. Right, because he was in the First Contact Wars. I believe he was still married to his first wife at the time, when he joined the military. At least that's what I seem to recall from the books.
No, it's fine. I got a few minutes. First Contact War? Yeah, I was there. My first real combat. First for a lot of us. I remember one night early in the war, strapped to my seat as our transport approached the LZ. Everyone was dead silent. Just the sound of breathing. Good men. I trained with all of them. We were always joking and horsing around, but not this time. Just the rattle of the shuttle. And that heavy breathing. Everyone was thinking the same thing. We're off to fight alien invaders. Aliens. Think about that. We all grew up wondering what was out there. If we were alone in the universe. Now we knew. We weren't alone. And we were in trouble. So there we were. About to face an enemy as different and unknown as we could imagine. I knew I had to say something, keep the men relaxed. So I turned to the soldier beside me, Hendricks, I think, and asked him how his mother was doing. Fine, he said. Why? Because I heard your mama's so ugly the Marines thought she was a Taurian. Almost shot her. I got a few smiles. Then Hendricks turned to me and said, Hell, Anderson, I heard it was a picture of your mama that started this goddamn war in the first place. Scared the Taurians shitless. Everyone had a good laugh at that. And the boys fought great that night. Sometimes that's all it takes. A joke, a pat on the back. Just a little reminder that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, and stories like that, especially like given what Shepard is going through right now, like Shepard, I know, probably appreciates and like identifies with those sorts of moments so much.
A few months ago, I had a chance to sit down with one of Earth's most decorated soldiers, Admiral David Anderson. He was kind enough to answer my questions and talk about his career. Today, the Admiral is on Earth, leading the defense of our home against the Reapers. We have no communication with him or any soldiers on Earth, but we can't forget what they're doing for us. Tonight's show is dedicated to all of the soldiers out there, fighting and dying to keep us safe. Admiral Anderson, today marks the 30th anniversary of the N7 program. Can you describe your first day of training in this now famous program?
The Interplanetary Combatives Training Program is all business from day one.
How so?
We're given basic gear, then separated and stranded on an asteroid with no nav data. The test ends when the last person runs out of oxygen.
Sounds daunting. What happens to the ones who run out of air first?
Out of the program. The best N7s can survive alone, but work together to survive even longer.
That's very impressive, Admiral. Deep space survival training. That has to be so difficult. All of it would take such strength of character. Well, just plain strength. But then you seem like a strong person.
I'm sorry. Is there a question in there?
Well, does the program make the man? Or do you think you were born for this?
It's a bit of both, I suppose. Every soldier reaches a point in their career, sometimes more than once, when they are asked to give more than they ever thought they could. That moment is the test. I've seen men and women, almost sure to fail, persevere long past the point of breaking. That experience changes them.
Indeed.
Others, with all the gifts and abilities, fail in that moment. Sometimes they pick themselves up and carry on. Sometimes they're just done.
What about you? What was your moment?
I've had a few, none of which I'd like to share. But I think the toughest tests are still ahead of me.
And
What makes
indeed.
you say that?
Call it a hunch.
Soldier's intuition?
Something like that.
Do you
Uh-huh.
trust your intuition? I mean, do you follow your heart over your mind?
Well, it depends on the day. No, I suppose if I were to be honest, I do trust my instincts. The problem is, war isn't orderly. And the enemy is never predictable.
Indeed.
Even the most experienced veteran is going to find themselves in situations they haven't trained for. In those instances, and there's more than I'd like to admit, your instincts are the only thing keeping you alive. That, and the men and women you're fighting beside.
But soldiers are only as good as their leader. Isn't that true?
Yeah. A good leader can make an okay squad great. A bad leader, well, war tends to make examples of them.
Indeed.
What makes a good leader then?
A good leader is someone who values the life of his men over the success of the mission, but understands that sometimes the cost of failing a mission is higher than the cost of losing those men.
That's a terrible line to have to walk.
Yes, it is, but war is a terrible thing.
Thank you for your time, Admiral.
Thank you.
The remainder of this interview was to take a more personal look at Admiral Anderson's life. It wasn't finished when the Reapers invaded. We can only hope that the Admiral and the soldiers under his command survive to tell us the rest of their stories. I'm Khaleesa Al-Jilani. Thank you for watching.
I would have preferred to have seen Anderson during that time. But, oh well. Yeah, turn that off. And more.
Sure, I can talk about Commander Shepard. Big topic. There's been a lot written about the Commander, but most of it isn't true. People are quick to judge. They don't know the whole story. I don't even know the whole story. But I know the man. Worked with him. Fought with him. Trust him with my life. Shepard's had some rough patches. Who of us hasn't? He's been forced to fight a lot of battles alone. God only knows how he got out of some of that. Makes your head spin. Thing is, you never heard a complaint. Never once got, "No, sir, I can't do that." He never hesitated. Few people know what Shepard's been through. I'd like to think I come pretty close. And I worry sometimes he forgets. There's a whole bunch of people who lose sleep over him getting back home. Maybe it doesn't need to be said. Maybe we're too dumb to say it. Soldiers like the Commander are rare. Men like Shepard, even more rare.
I do love this section of the game, though. Just taking the time to hear from Anderson and, like, get Anderson's thoughts and stuff from prior to the war.
Okay. I have your new questions here. As a leader, do I ever feel that the end justifies the means? Spirit of law over word of law. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I think I know what you're after. You're referring to the way I, arranged to have the Normandy released to Commander Shepard before the Battle of the Citadel. I'm not sure how valuable hindsight is to the military. Obviously, it worked out for the best. Without the Normandy and Commander Shepard free to do what they needed to do, what we needed them to do, Saren might have taken the Citadel. I think it's clear what a different galaxy this would be if that had happened. I did what I had to. If I had been wrong, I would have gladly accepted the repercussions. The real trick is never being wrong. If you're looking for more action and less philosophy in these notes, let me know.
So, in taking the action that you are not going to regret. That is the idea. Come on.
Embarrassing moments? I've got more of those than anyone will ever know. Only way to learn something. But if I had to pick one to share, I had just gotten promoted to N7. Full of myself. King of the castle. Found myself buying drinks for undesirables in some rundown bar in the wards. They toasted my recent promotion. Hell, they would have toasted Batarian slavers if it had got them more drinks. About the time my money ran out, my new friends turned on me. I was outnumbered. Things didn't look good. My plan to get out of there involved lots of punching. Well, that worked for a while. Then a table hit me. Or I fell down. When I came to, I saw a Solarian putting the rest of the troublemakers down. A Solarian? Moved like a damn cat, I swear. When everybody was out cold. Or running. He walked over and helped me up. N7, he asked. Yes, sir, I replied. He looked over my collection of unconscious friends, nodding. Not bad, human, he said. Then he walked away. I had met my first Spectre. Learned an important lesson that day. No matter how good you think you are, there's always somebody quicker, faster, and a hell of a lot smarter than you just around the corner. That little lesson's kept me alive more than once since then.
Indeed. The philosophy of Phantom Menace. There's always a bigger fish.
The Normandy? A brand new ship. My ship. You don't forget that moment. The first time you're standing there. The whole crew looking to you for direction. Unforgettable. I'd led men and women before that. Seen a lot of combat already. Always managed to find my way home in one piece. Do that a few times, you begin to think you know better than the next guy. Maybe you do, I don't know. But if you're lucky, really lucky, you find yourself on a good ship, in front of a good crew. A crew you can trust with your life. Gifted. Disciplined. Brave. All of them. Eager to set sail into the endless black ocean. I still remember my XO asking what my orders were. Shepard, I said. Let's see what we can find.
Yep. Where we were when we started this Let's Play. Sort of. Like, not that conversation in particular, but...
Okay.
This was childhood, right?
Tombstone data. Admiral David Edward Anderson. Not sure why anybody would be interested, but thanks for asking. I was born in London, June 8th, 2137. The last of 3 children born to Ursula and Paul Anderson. A nurse and a flight mechanic, respectively. But that's a little dry. And someone's gonna spice this up, right? Never been much for the spotlight. Anyway, where was I? It was a second marriage for my parents. They were almost 50 by the time they had me. My mother worked shifts, so my father would often take me to the base. While he worked, I watched transport ships and fighters take off. Worked his whole life around space travel, my father. But he never left Earth. Not for a day. He was a good man. But that's just a side note. Don't put that in. Who is it, Kaylee? Yes, I need to take that. I hope this is what you're after. I'll get to the more interesting N7 stuff next time.
No. Okay.
The Turians. Well, I might not always see eye to eye with the politics and the individual, but I have a great respect for the Turian military. Any Alliance soldier lucky enough to take part in their training programs will certainly be better for it. Their precision, skill, and discipline come together in a way that's second to none. Not that I'm faulting our own people or training. It's just that after fighting Turians in the First Contact War, years later, I had the opportunity to observe and train on Palaven. It was a turning point for me. And I would encourage any soldier to try it. It's a unique experience to put yourself in the squad of a Turian commander. My commander was an uncompromising bastard named Bartix Oryx. If you can find him, just ask how the platoon I commanded was trounced in his strategy game. Humbling. But I've used what I learned that day many times. The xenophobes will have their say. But I think it's vital that we do more of this kind of cross-species training. There you go. And if you do find General Oryx, let me know. I owe him money.
Yeah. Ah, the SR-1.
You asked me to talk about the SSV Normandy. The Normandy SR-1. As commander of the Tokyo, I was consulted on the Normandy's design and on board for her initial training exercises. The average person probably doesn't know that the Normandy was a joint project with the Turians. Acting CO, Eli Xander, was no diplomat. She ran out of patience with Turian posturing and politicking during construction. The chief architect of the Drive Corps, Octavio Tatum, and his team of Turian engineers were in the CIC for final training exercises. Tempers flared when Xander pushed the limits of the stealth system, waiting to vent the IES well past what Tatum was comfortable with. I tried to calm the situation, but it still ended with the Turian scientist in shackles and a human-Turian fistfight at Korra's den later. Funny now, when I first laid eyes on the Normandy, she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Day after that training run, Admiral Wright found me on the bridge. She's yours, he said. Can't trust her to Xander. Send me a list of crew from the Tokyo you'd like, and prep for your first mission. Short command thanks to Saren. Still, one of the highlights of a long career.
Oh. So, this actually kind of reminded me of something, because I was just chatting with a friend over the weekend. Like, this is a regular chat. We game together. Sometimes one of us will stream playing a game for the other person. Anyways, he was trying to finish up Mass Effect Andromeda. And, well, prior to this past weekend, he hadn't touched the game in about 2 years. So there's that. So it was a matter of being like, all right, cool. Well, what do I, like, figuring out where he was at, what needs to go on, missions and stuff. And so we were exploring the area, looking into things. And in Andromeda, there is, in the room with the Pathfinders, there is a set along this window. There are these schematics for a bunch of ship models. One of those schematics is for the Normandy SR2, which, if I'm remembering my timeline correctly, like, that would have been, like, while Cerberus was still building it. Given when the ships in Andromeda would have had to have left in order to make it there when they did. So yeah, but it was the schematics for the SR2 and not the SR1. Anyways, that was like fun little thing that I found there. And if I am misremembering the timeline, that's on me. Right. Casual sushi place. I should look nice. This is my nice outfit. Oh dear. It works. I remember there, like, used to be, like... I mean, I could go informal blues. Informal alliance blues, but this is supposed to be casual, like, not military. And so, look nice, but I'm not going to this dinner as a military rep. Though I do think Joker is wearing what he usually does. Alright. Well... You know, given that I have played this DLC before, I have a vague idea about what is going to happen. I think I'm remembering correctly. And I am actually just going to call this episode a few minutes early, because there will be a lot that goes on at the beginning of next episode. And I would rather do that than start this sequence and proceed to be like, all right, great, we're at an action point, stop here. So this is a much nicer break point. But yeah, I want to thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. And in the meantime, in between time, take care, have fun, and happy trails.